What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Today I have a little bit different of a video for you guys. Yesterday I actually went and got fitted for a tuxedo for my best friend's wedding that's happening in 2 weeks. Now, I was actually the last person to get the tuxedo fitted, and the only other time that I've ever been fitted for a tuxedo where they had to measure, you know, my body sizes and stuff was actually when I was in high school for prom. So obviously when I was in high school I was very, very overweight, definitely morbidly obese, so I definitely had a lot different of an experience when I was in high school versus the fitting that I just had yesterday. So I thought it would be kind of cool to make a video talking about the differences that I'm not saying everyone has the same experience as I did, but the differences that I had between getting, fitted for a tuxedo when I was overweight versus getting fitted for a tuxedo now. So a little bit of backstory about my prom and the fitting that I had when I was in high school. I actually was absolutely not planning on going to my prom when I was in high school because first off, asking someone on a date was definitely something that I was not looking forward to, and I couldn't even think of anybody that I would ask that would actually take me seriously. So that was obviously a huge, for me in high school, I didn't want to go by myself, but at the same time, I was kind of too nervous to ask a girl. So that was obviously a huge hurdle that I had to get over. The thought of me going to prom was not something that I was planning on doing, and then on top of that, just kind of the monetary stuff, which was the main thing, was, getting the tuxedo, paying for that, and all of the other things that go along with prom. My family just didn't have the money. I got really, really lucky and really, really blessed because a family friend of mine actually offered to pay for the tuxedo and pay for the prom and drive us there, so that was taken care of. So this was maybe about 2 weeks out of prom. He says, I'm gonna do it all for you. He basically said, you're going to prom, you don't have a choice, find somebody to go with. And I got really, really lucky because I did have basically another family friend that was interested in going to prom with me, so she said yes, so that all was taken care of. So I was actually able to go to prom. It's maybe 2 weeks out of prom, or maybe a week and a half out of prom, and I have to go get fitted for a tuxedo. Now, I had no idea what that entailed. I had never been fitted for anything, but I went with the family friend, and he said, okay, we're gonna take you to this place. I know the guy that's gonna be fitting you, and we'll be able to figure it all out for you. So I go in there, and I just remember it was literally my worst nightmare, because right as I walked into the tuxedo shop and the guy comes out to help me out, he literally looks at me and he was just like, oh wow. He literally was like, I don't know if we're gonna have stuff that's gonna fit you. And it was partly my fault because I waited so long until before my prom. So we go through the fitting, and obviously they're measuring everything, and they end up measuring my waist as a 52. That's the only measurement I think I remember from the time. But every time they would have to go back and try and find something in my size, I remember it would take, for at least to me, it felt like it would take 10-20 minutes. It might have only taken a couple minutes, but I remember they would have certain sizes that were right there next to them, but obviously none of those were in my size. So every single time they would take my measurement, they had to go to the back and find the special size for me. So that was obviously embarrassing because I'm here with a family friend and there's other people that are around, and it's obvious that the guy is getting annoyed that he has to do all of this extra work to help me out, right? He ends up coming out, we get the pants, obviously they're way too long, so we're gonna have to hem those down. And then we talk about the vest because when you go to prom you want to wear a nice vest. I already had shoelaces picked out that were gonna match the teal vest that I had. He tells me basically, we don't have any vests that are gonna fit you. So he ends up giving me this thing. They have a name for it. I don't know the name of it. If you know the name of it, put it in the comments down below. But it looks like a vest on the front, but on the back there's nothing there. It was basically just a strap that would go around. So he pretty much told me if you're gonna wear this, you would want to keep the jacket on that you're wearing the whole time, just because it would look kind of funny wearing the shirt with just this vest thing that doesn't have a back to it. All I can remember is just being super embarrassed the whole time that I was there, and I just couldn't wait to leave, right? I just couldn't wait to get out of there. So fast forward to actually picking up the stuff and trying it on at home. I remember when I tried it on, it felt like all they didn't try to make it fit me really. All they did was just almost with the pants and the jacket, they just kind of rolled the pants up, it felt like, and then just kind of sewed it together because the pants were they were almost comically large. I have some pictures of my prom outfit, but they were just so wide in my lower leg, because obviously the upper leg had to be pretty wide because I had really big legs, but in the lower leg, my calf area, they just went straight down. So they almost looked like bell bonds. They were just they were comically large. And then the same thing with the arms. Basically it was the same size here as it was down here by my hand. So they were just I don't know. Personally, I remember I put it on and I was not man, I feel like I look really fly. I was I feel like I look like an idiot. Like I was not at all like super confident. I mean, but at the time, you know, I was really excited to go to prom. I wasn't planning on going, so I was ready to have a super, super good time. And it was just funny because, man, I remember I put it on and I was just like, oh man, these do not look as good as I thought they were going to. Again, fast forwarding to the actual day that I had prom, we ended up going down to the beach and taking pictures. And it was funny because in one of the pictures, I do like a thumbs up, and I hope I have it, but if I do, I'll put it up. But I remember I did that thumbs up, and you can see that like my button is buttoned, right? Like right after we took that picture, that button just popped off. So for the rest of the day, I had no button on my jacket. And then when I was at prom, the whole time, like I was so self-conscious about taking off my jacket because like the guy said, like it looks kind of funny if you're wearing this vest thing that has no back. So the whole time I'm wearing this heavy, heavy jacket. Literally everyone else at prom has taken their jacket off because it was hot. It was really, really hot in there. It was like a club, right? So it was super hot. Everyone had their jacket off, but I was just sitting there with my jacket on, just sweating because I was super nervous and scared to take off my jacket because I didn't want someone to be like, what's wrong with your vest? Like, why does your vest look like that? So I just literally kept my jacket on the whole time. With all of that stuff kind of going through my head, I was too scared to really dance or anything like that because I was just so self-conscious because I was looking at how everyone looked in their tuxedos, and I thought like, man, they all look really good. Like the dudes look super fly, and I wish I looked like that. And I was looking at myself and I was just like, I feel like I look like just this kid that's wearing like maybe his dad's suit, because I feel like they tried to make it fit me, but at the same time they were just like, just make it really, really big and it'll fit this kid. So I think that whole experience with the fitting and prom and everything just in general kind of has stuck in my head because like I mentioned before, I was the last person to get my tuxedo fitted for my friend's wedding, and I'm actually like, I'm in the wedding party, right? So I was like the last person. I've had people texting me like, John, you need to go get your tux fitted. And I think I've always kind of had that experience in the back of my head because I was seriously like nervous to go in. I can say like yesterday I went in, and as I walked in, you know, I walked in there, I said, hey, I need to get my tux fitted for my friend's wedding. I told them the name and everything like that, and they said, okay, great. You know, they asked me, one of the first things they did, oh, I didn't mention this before, but you know, they asked me my weight when I was in high school and my height and stuff, and I was just like super embarrassed to even say it. I think I made up a weight because I had literally no idea how much I weighed then, but you know, they asked me, how much do you weigh and how tall are you? And so I was like, I'm like 200 pounds, 5'8". This time it was a woman, and I remember thinking to myself, man, if it was a woman the first time, I would have been so embarrassed. Like that would have freaked me out so much. But this time I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. And then so she measured my neck, my shoulders, my waist, everything. She was like, oh, are you normally a 34? I'm normally a 34. I said, yes, that's exactly what I am. And so she gave me some pants and a shirt to try on, and there was like no issues at all. The only issue that I actually had, which was funny, was when I went to try on the shirt and I came out, she said, how's everything fitting? I said, well, it feels like the shirt is a little tight around my arms. And she said, yeah, that's kind of normal for people that have bigger arms. So instead of a slim fit, we'll get you, you know, just a regular fitting shirt. So I thought that was kind of funny that the only issue I had was because, you know, I guess I'm getting a little bit more buff or whatever. So I had to, you know, switch the shirt out that they were originally going to use to maybe like one that would fit me a little bit better. So I got fitted for everything, and when I left, I even said to the lady like, wow, that was relatively painless, and she was like, yeah, it's really not too big of a deal. And it's just crazy kind of thinking the differences that people might face when you are severely overweight, right? Something as simple as just getting fitted for a tux for a wedding or for prom can turn into this huge ordeal. And for me, it really was just something that it really has stuck in my head as one of the more embarrassing moments as when I was severely overweight, because it's like your biggest fear, right? Is people finding out how large you are or how much you have to struggle with actually finding clothes that fit you. Because the guy that was with me, that was helping me with prom and getting everything set up, he even said like, man, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to find you clothes. And he wasn't trying to say it in a mean way at all. He was just genuinely like, I had no idea that it was going to be so difficult, because he could tell I was visibly upset with it. Like I got very quiet. I didn't really say much for the rest of the day because it was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing for me, and you know, it's not something that you really want to see, especially people that, because I really respected the guy that was helping me out. You know, he was paying for my prom and all this stuff. Like I really respected him, and it was just embarrassing for me as, I guess, like as a man, for him to see that and him to see kind of, because in my head, like this was things that I had done to myself, right? Like it was my fault that I was as heavy as I was. And another part of the story was he was actually a guy that had tried to help me lose weight many times. So I think that kind of played into it too, because I felt like I was kind of letting him down by being as heavy as I was. Now that might be wrong way of thinking, but that's just how I thought when I was in high school, right? So I kind of felt like I was letting him down by being the size that I was, and then at the same time he saw the things that I had to deal with and how hard it was for me to find a simple shirt to fit me, right? Or simple pants to fit me. He kind of saw how much of a struggle that was, and being in high school, you know, being insecure already, that was really hard for me to deal with, and it was something that took me a while to get over. So needless to say, this time around it was much easier to find a jacket that fit, a shirt that fit, pants, and a vest that has an actual back to it. To end this video, I want to make it very clear that I am not at all trying to brag or anything like that. All I'm trying to do is just share my experience as being someone that is severely overweight trying to get fitted for a tuxedo versus someone that is no longer severely overweight trying to get fitted for a tuxedo. There might be some people out there watching that have never had to deal with being super overweight, so you might not know that there's simple things like that that might not even seem like that big of a deal to you, right, getting fitted. But that can be a huge thing for somebody that knows that their size is going to be, you know, a hindrance in that process. And also for those of you guys that are super overweight that are trying to lose weight right now, just know that, you know, those things that might seem like this super big deal in the future might end up being this like just thing that takes 5 minutes. It doesn't have to take too much of your time, and it can just be a normal part of your day that you don't have to stress about very much at all. I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching. If any of you guys have maybe a similar experience or anything that might kind of be related to what I just talked about, I would love to hear that down in the comment section down below. But again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, look how buff I am.
Make sure you subscribe
And leave a like.
and leave a like.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you later. No?
And press the bell button.
Press the bell button? How do you know that? Yeah, and say make sure you subscribe to notifications. Say press the bell.
Press the bell
How do
button.
you know that? That's crazy.
Obey the warning signs, and when there are flashing lights or wigwags, don't attempt to cross until they come to a complete stop.